Imagine this. You go to renew your resident parking permit and the council tells you, sorry, you're too heavy. Well, not you exactly, but your car. Drive a car over 2,400 kilogram and soon probably just 2,000 kilogram, and that'll cost you extra. That's the line in the sand that Cardiff has drawn a couple of weeks ago. This is the first UK council to penalise larger, heavier vehicles via parking permit charges. But hold on, is this just an ecological nudge, or could it be the start of a slippery slope of control over what cars we can own and drive and choose? Let's look at exactly what Cardiff is doing and why so many of the arguments are shaky and why this matters, especially for motorists outside of London and where your car is your lifeline. Let's do all of that right after this.
A brown car guy. Brown car guy.
Now this matters most in places like Welsh towns and villages where the realities of mobility are quite different. Many people rely on their cars by necessity, not by choice. A huge majority of households own or rely on a car, and the car is essentially the backbone of their mobility. Public transport is patchy outside of the main dense transport corridors. Buses often run infrequently, rural train service is minimal, and keep this in mind, city centres or town centres, high streets, restaurants, shops and entertainment districts, they all rely on footfall, and that means relying on visitors with cars. If parking is harder or costlier, you risk hollowing out urban vitality. So essentially what we're talking about here is a conflict between mobility, access, the economy, and understanding how local communities function. Here's what's happening. Cardiff Council has approved a policy to charge a premium parking rate for larger, heavier vehicles. The initial threshold is for vehicles that are over 2,400 kilograms. They will face a surcharge. Then in the second phase, which is not applying, neither of these apply to electric vehicles, by the way. The second phase, the threshold will drop to just 2,000 kilograms. The stated goal is not, they say, outright bans, but a nudge to discourage oversized heavy vehicles. This, they claim, is to reduce road wear, manage space, and improve safety. And to be fair, in public consultation, about 66% of respondents, 2/3, said they supported charging larger vehicles more. Plus, Cardiff points to places like Paris, which tripled parking charges for SUVs, leading to a large drop of about 2/3 fewer SUVs parked and in usage. Cardiff is also reorganizing its parking zones, inner, outer, and city centre, and revising permit policies and use priorities. Residents, local businesses, carers, etc. But now let's look at the logic of all of this. First, the 2,000 kilogram, 2,400 kilogram line. It's arbitrary, and it's unfair to regular cars because you see many ordinary saloons, even hatchbacks, family cars, especially things with cars with higher trim levels and which are loaded with equipment, whether it's safety or luxury. These cars tend to approach these sort of figures anyway, especially that lower 2,000 kilogram figure. So people driving non-SUVs could still be caught out if it's purely based on weight. As such, isn't it lazy to demonize SUVs as the only problem when many other body styles could also share the weight or the size burden? And isn't it worth considering that many SUVs today are actually hybrids or plug-in hybrids, even better, and these have, of course, lower emissions. If weight is the metric, penalizing these cars while giving leniency to large petrol or diesel non-SUVs, and also things such as diesel vans and lorries and trucks, it seems kind of inconsistent. Next, the road wear argument is also overstated. I mean, come on, roads are engineered to take heavy loads. HGVs, lorries, trucks, buses. A few bulky SUVs are marginal in comparison. Regarding parking space, many large SUVs, and especially crossovers, are taller rather than proportionately wider or longer. The spatial impact and actual lane widths or parking markings, the space given to them, might actually be minimal. Next, let's look at the safety argument. Okay, heavier vehicles in collision can pose greater risks to vulnerable road users, but modern vehicles SUVs included, come equipped with an array of advanced safety tech: cameras, radar, ADAS, automatic emergency braking, pedestrian detection, etc., etc. As such, blanket condemnation of big cars ignores the engineering progress in the sheer safety systems that are part and parcel of these cars. Also, size by itself is a bit of a coarse proxy for danger. Surely driving behavior, design, and collision structure also matter, as does, in fact, I should point out, pedestrian behavior, which is just as significant, let's be honest. Next, the EV hybrid inconsistency. Full electric vehicles often weigh more than comparable petrol, diesel, and hybrids due to the heavy battery packs. If exemptions or leniency are applied for EV, then you're basically ending up rewarding some of the heaviest cars on the road, despite this claim that it's all about wear and tear due to heavier vehicles on the road. How does that make any sense? So a policy that punishes heavy SUVs but not heavy EVs is hypocritical if weight is supposed to be the guiding metric. It raises the specter of misaligned incentives. If you go EV, you escape a surcharge even if your vehicle is massive. That undermines the spatial structural argument and turns this more into it's all about emissions or type discrimination in disguise. I mean, is it okay to drive a Hummer EV? Have you seen the size of those things and the weight of them, but not a Range Rover Sport? Huh? Next, let's look at equity, rural realities, and choice constraints. If you live outside the dense transport grid, your car is not a luxury, it's a necessity, as we've said. Penalizing access punishes the car dependent more. That's people with large families, people with mobility needs, people that need to carry equipment around. Many of these are legitimate users of larger vehicles, but they are going to be caught in this crossfire. The nudge rhetoric falls apart when alternatives, i.e. good public transport, safe cycling zones, etc., are either absent or weak in related contexts. And finally, you have to worry that this is a kind of slippery slope and that there will be policy creep. For example, today it's a 2,400 threshold, tomorrow it's 2,000, then what? 1,800? 1,500? Once the principle is accepted, broadening becomes politically easier, as we've seen, for example, with lowering speed limits. As I always say, what's going to be next after 20 miles per hour limits? 10 miles per hour limits? A man walking in front of the car with a red flag? We risk a future in which vehicle choices are constrained by bureaucratic weight ceilings rather than consumer preference or market innovation. Don't forget, cars have gotten bigger and heavier over the years precisely because they've been made safer and cleverer to protect their occupants and, yes, even pedestrians as well. A simple example of that is where you have bonnets that are having to be positioned slightly higher to increase the distance between the bonnet and the engine block, precisely to mitigate injury as much as possible should a pedestrian be struck. Some kind of irony there, I think, isn't there? Hey guys, while I've got your attention, make sure that you hit like, share, and subscribe and support independent journalism channels like mine. You can do that at patreon.com, ko-fi.com, and of course right here on YouTube you can take out a voluntary paid subscription, or you can buy my books. I've got 3 books out at the moment: a full action thriller, The Ulez Files, a collection of short stories, The Quantum Races, and How to Do What I Do, How to Be an Automotive Content Creator. All of those books are on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited. If you buy any of those books, I'll be grateful, but if you buy all 3, I'll enter you into a prize draw to win this keyring and badge. This is an exclusive set. There's only 20 of these. 2 of them have already gone out, so there's still 18 left of these to be won if you buy all 3 of these books and send me proof that you have them. Now back to the video. So in its current form, Cardiff's plan is a blunt instrument applied to a complex situation. The logic is uneven, the benefits exaggerated, and the harms could be quite real, especially for car owners and business owners in Wales. It's also worth examining ripple effects, which can be significant. So as I've alluded to, city centres, shopping districts, restaurants, and entertainment venues, they depend on access. They depend on people being able to drive in, park somewhere close, wandering around, spending money. Making parking punitive or difficult or uncertain, and what happens? The footfall shrinks. Businesses that don't have huge parking decks, they lose out. So who gains? Large malls, because they have free parking. And suddenly this skews the urban playing field towards The big corporates, the stores and the companies are already quite powerful. Also in Wales, tourism matters. Scenic drives, family holidays, road trips. People bring their cars. I know this proposal won't necessarily affect tourists at present, but remember, policy creep. So if heavier vehicles start being penalized, some visitors may reconsider going there or just go elsewhere. Some people are already doing that because of the 20 miles per hour blanket speed limits in towns in Wales. In smaller towns and suburbs, restricting or disincentivizing car access can hollow out local economies, as I've alluded to. Fewer visitors, less spending, more businesses closing. So while the headline is reduce city congestion, improve safety, the net outcome could be ban cars and kill the local economy. We are treading a fine and dangerous line when authorities start drawing weight limits on what you can own or what you already own. I mean, what are you supposed to do? What are residents supposed to do? Trade in their car? When the power to drive freely becomes contingent on administrative thresholds, you're not in a democracy, are you? A democracy of choice. You're in a dictatorship. Should you be penalized because your car's curb weight tips the scales at just over 2,000 kilograms? Should the council decide that your family holiday car is too heavy and too big and needs to be charged more money? And if this is the path that we choose to walk, where does it end? They say it's a nudge, not a ban. But a constant drumbeat of nudges can become coercion. Today is a surcharge, tomorrow is tougher restrictions, the day after we have premium zones where only the rich can park. That's not good at all, is it really? They pick on SUVs because they're an easy target. Many SUVs, in fact, are efficient, safe, they're hybrids or plug-in hybrids. Why target them while not applying the same logic to heavier cars, which could well be EVs? The inconsistency is a bit glaring. Now, this is not principal regulation, it's selective punishment. They trot out road damage, but roads are made to handle trucks, HGVs, delivery vehicles. As I've said, the marginal additional strain from SUVs or larger private vehicles is minimal in comparison. To use that argument against ordinary drivers is weak. They claim safety to vulnerable road users, a worthy goal, but blanket statements don't help. Good design, responsible driving, structural engineering, better infrastructure, protected lanes, these are stronger levers than simply punitive surcharges. And I'm sorry to say this, but they always say that, if you hit a pedestrian at this speed, or if you hit a pedestrian with this size of vehicle, etc., etc. Okay, look, that's fine. And also freak accidents do and will happen, unfortunately. But it's worth asking the question, why are pedestrians loitering in the middle of the road to be hit in the first place? Pavements are for pedestrians and roads are for cars. Also, Wales is not London. There aren't infinite transit alternatives there. You don't live steps from a tube station and don't have a high-frequency bus stop outside your home. Cars matter over there. This is somewhere where you have a car because it's the only choice for you to get around in. Punish people for doing that, and you're punishing mobility, opportunity, independence, and even your dignity. So here's a challenge to Cardiff and any council thinking of imitating that. Before you tax, build. Before you restrict, enable. Before penalizing, provide viable alternatives. Don't bet on choice when choice is something you're not allowing to exist. Don't force decisions by default. Don't make motorists the sacrificial lamb in a climate or safety theater without delivering real workable alternatives. Respect the freedom to own what balances your life needs, not what some think tank think we should have. Because today it's Cardiff policy on 2,000 kilograms, tomorrow it could be something else. And before long, unless you're in the elite class, you might well be off the road altogether. If you're a motorist, don't dismiss this as someone else's problem or someone else's fight. It may soon be your car, your permit, and your mobility on the line. Let's call for proper alternatives, better transport, safer active travel, smarter urban design, not just simplistic punitive policies. So keep your eyes open. Don't forget to like and comment and definitely share this video because everybody needs to know about this. Mobility is a choice, and that choice mustn't be eroded by bureaucratic wait tables. I look forward to hearing your comments on this, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Shout out time, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, if you enjoy my content, why not get involved? buy me a coffee. You can do that at either of these links. Or if you're watching on YouTube, buy me a thanks or take out a membership. It all helps. It really does.